So a man at 45 still has the opportunity to impregnate a woman, and maybe a woman at 45 does not have the same opportunity to be able to have a child.
As a matter of fact, it's also been proven that the older the guy is, the more defects the child may have.
Are the clocks running at the same speed?
We all know that men are preyed upon because once a woman gets a man's seed, she's got not only his child, she now has his bank account.
So the next story is so there's a clip where this woman was basically saying that men over 40, they're flexing like it's the 90s because they're single and childless. So we just talked about women being childless as in some cases, such as Nick, selfish, and other cases, consideration and respect. But anyways, so what do you guys think about men? Are men looked at differently, and why? And as a matter of fact, not only and why, but why should we look at them differently? Because it takes two to tango.
Okay, I'll go before I just since we keep it right here, right?
Yeah, keep this energy, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna the same energy. So, can you ask the question one more time so I can make sure I answer your question exactly?
Okay, so the question on the floor is, are men looked at differently, and why? And why should they be looked at differently if it takes two to tango?
Yes, men are looked at differently. Why are they looked at differently? Because men and women are different, right? It goes back to organs, science, biology, right? I'm trying to be quick. What was the other part?
And then I said, but why should they be looked at differently if it takes two to tango?
But why should they be looked at differently? Because they're different. Y'all got two X chromosomes. Y'all got X. I don't understand, because we both are involved in an act, why we should be looked at the same. Do we share a responsibility? Do we share some consideration, right? To your word, right?
Yes.
But it's not the same. We're not going to be the same, right? So if I'm asking your question, the answer to me is simple, because y'all are women and we are men. That's why we're not going to look at it the same, right? We have the ability to continue to procreate farther than y'all do. True or false? True.
Yeah, which is why it should be
so a man at 45 still has the opportunity to impregnate a woman, and maybe a woman at 45 does not have the same opportunity to be able to have a child. Are those the same? No. Science is not the same. So I don't understand why we would look at it the same. Y'all have biological clocks.
Men do too.
Is that come on, man. Is that associated with men in the same way is what I'm trying to say? Is that a social construct for y'all who want to try to Black Lives Matter every fucking thing? No, I'm saying biologically, y'all bleed every 28 days. We don't. You want more explanation, or I'll let the other?
So I want to go ahead and clear some things up for you, sir. So you guys have biological clocks as well. As a matter of fact, it's also been proven that the older the guy is, the more defects the child may have growing up, or the baby may have.
Can he still have the child?
And so
defected off.
If he has a woman there. But the point is that, so is he contributing to the rise of humanity when you just got done saying that certain people shouldn't procreate? So these old ass men, that's 70, 80, should they be procreating? Because they're coming with
there's science to check if there's science to help them weed out through the good sperm.
Yeah, there's science to help them weed out the good sperm. I'm saying that, and not only that, so not only do the sperm decline, but men's biological clock also is ticking. So women actually can have kids, at least one. I don't know how she did it and why she did it at 66, by the way, now, even though she had to get basically of somebody younger than her to agree with it. Those are rare
cases. Outliers to make these. We got to go there.
The point is, it's still there. So I just want to acknowledge that men have biological clock.
You're not doing
men's sperm, it causes defects. The older they get, they have also, as a matter of fact, men in general, based on their diet and their exercise, can also contribute to how the baby reacts as well.
Can they produce sperm?
Still. Oh my goodness! I already said they can produce
sperm. Come on, man! You do yourself a service. It's not even an argument.
Whatever. Go ahead, so it's okay. So it's flex. Go ahead. Sorry, Delvin.
I mean, you were making it worse the more you talk.
Whatever.
Listen,
y'all just can't own up to shit.
We have biological clocks. Yes, nobody is denying that. Here's the question for you: are the clocks running at the same speed? That's a yes or no question.
Okay, no, I shook my head.
Okay. Then we're done.
I said, this is some bullshit. I'm calling BS on all of this.
Your bullshit. You have to take it up with the Lord.
What I'm saying is, if the man if it's the woman's responsibility to serve
evolutionary biology.
No, what I'm saying is, if the responsibility for humanity is put on the woman, well, the man controls the seed. So why is the responsibility to procreate put on the man as well?
Because
how are we talking about the responsibility to procreate here?
Well,
right?
you're the one who said that it was the woman's responsibility to
humanity
procreate.
for
You know,
previous
exactly.
owners.
You're
That's
the
how
one
we
who
got
said
here.
the humanity.
The woman,
So why
yeah.
isn't the man responsibility to the same to humanity? Ultimately,
because he doesn't have a womb.
His responsibility, because he has the seed, also known as the key to impregnate the womb.
Yeah, but you don't put the seed everywhere.
Let me ask you a question.
You don't drop your seed everywhere.
If you have land that has fertile soil, right, and it's your job to grow food to provide, let's say, for a village or whatever, who has the responsibility to plant and to till and to, you know, to till? Like, is it the seed salesman? Hey, you guys want some seed?
Oh,
no,
wow. So
it's the
you're saying
person who owns the land upon which the garden can grow from.
Okay, Johnny.
Like, I don't understand.
Okay, Johnny Appleseed ass. I see you. I see you. So basically what you're saying is that the men, as long as they can basically shoot out seed, all is well, but that doesn't mean that it's their responsibility.
No, I'm going to pass it to Jay. Go ahead, Jay, because I think you're listening with your emotional ears right now.
My
so you can't hear what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Jay.
I want to put it in terms of science. Okay, let's say natural selection. All right. We all know, and I could give an earlier shout out to the earlier story, like the Jaden Daniels. We all know that men are preyed upon. Because once a woman gets a man's seed, she's got not only his child, she now has his bank account, and she has his earnings for a good perceivable part of his future. So if a man's made it to 40 and been able to dodge like the Matrix, all of these shots coming at him, right, and he's still able to shoot and perform at what he needs to perform, then he has shown through like the natural selection that he is a survivor. Therefore, he should be puffing his chest out and beating his chest, as opposed to a woman, if she's had 8 kids and 4 different babies, daddies or whatever, and she's 40, it's a different look. Or if a woman who has no kids, right? I'm not hating on her. Everybody got choices. It's all different people. But if you're taking a position that a woman's special function in life and what makes her special and distinctive from men and pedestal worthy is her womb, and she chooses not to use that womb, right? Then it's not a flex if she's 40 and hasn't chosen to use the thing that was making her special, quote unquote, if that was the thing, right? That's why it's different.
Okay,
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying. So this is what I'm going to say. So the woman is had this womb, right? That's our soul source. So I guess that's why we now have. I guess that's our whole soul, purpose and shit. So I guess that's why they have so many laws now been put in place, which forces the woman to give birth. But y'all can populate the whole wide world because you just a seed dropper. So if you just a seed dropper, then go find the woman who want to drop seed, have that seed implanted in her ass, and be happy and move on. Stop trying to make it the responsibility of women who don't want children to have those children, is what I'm saying. Find the people that match your energy. If you want them to if you want to populate the world, find the woman who also wants to populate the world, and leave the women who are not willing to populate the world for whatever reason, or don't want to or can't populate the world, alone. That's what I'm saying. If that's the whole thing, then there wouldn't be laws that's currently in place to try to force women to give birth. And I understand that we're talking about, the 1.8. So the 1.8, by the way, is by groups, just to clarify, and by countries, right? So in Africa, as an example, even though we're not in Africa, their rate is 6.6. As in for they're having, well, you already know what that means. And then, but since we're in America, for the Black community is actually 2.2 right now, and it's 1.8 for white, it's 4.6 for Hispanics, which is why they're all about the immigration control partially as well. So all that being said is that it's not everybody who's not having kids anymore. There's a certain group of people who have concerns about the fact that their group is no longer having kids, and there has been a decline because what one group does, the Black community have a tendency in America to follow. But the world continues to populate itself. But once again, the sole point that I'm about to make is, if you want to be Johnny Appleseed ass nigga, then go ahead and find you a woman who's receptive to your Appleseed and fertilize her land. Don't go and find a woman who don't want to, and then don't try to shame her into trying to have a child, because her purpose, while you say her womb is her purpose, whether she can have it or can't have the child, she may find purpose and validation in something else. Like I said, the community, you talk about the community aspect, there are people who can be teachers to those children. There's people who can
teacher and a mom.
What you say?
You can be a teacher and a mom. You just talking. You can be a teacher and a mom.
But that's not. They don't feel that's their purpose. They don't want to have children. They want to be other You know what I'm saying? It's the whole fearless concept.
You're not. This is
I am hearing. I heard.
This is why I'm saying you're not listening with emotional ears. Let me ask you a question. Do you not think that there are some women out here who are listening to rhetoric that's not true to themselves, that will find themselves down the road regretting certain decisions, like not having kids? Do you think that's possible?
I would agree if they're not being true to themselves, cool. But they need to reflect on themselves and their decisions.
I thought I was very clear. I don't think y'all really get it. There's a lot of people out here moving. We've heard enough conversations. Oh, women are out here acting like this. And we'll say, no, they're not. Y'all listening to podcasts. And we'll hear how people are letting things influence their decisions in real time. Agree or disagree? Does anybody disagree with that? Okay, so what I'm saying is that I'm hearing a lot of young women on this fucking fake ass, oh, I want to be the rich auntie train, not thinking about the implications down the road. Because what they're doing is abdicating the desire for having children or a family because they're being selfish. I just rather do what I want to do. I just want to always consider me and not have to consider anybody else. And at some point in time, that level of selfishness, when you hear about it down the road, a la Tracy Ellis Ross, she probably packaged it neatly and whatnot, but she probably didn't tell you all the other therapies she had to go through to arrive at whatever version of healing that she arrived at. So yes, for the woman who's thought through the implications, sure, don't have kids. What I'm saying is there are a lot of people who are making choices that are not their own. And beyond that, because we've become more selfish, we're only thinking about our timelines and ourselves, there are a lot of ways that we're seeing selfish behavior manifest itself. So how is it not possible for y'all to imagine that there's a group of people, and I'm sorry, when y'all were the ones blessed and cursed with a womb, it's not a knock. It's just is what it is. We're not the same, right? So I'm saying, given that environment, y'all can't imagine a space and a place where people are being conditioned to run away from blackness, to run away from humanity, from running away from community. Y'all think, oh, it's just Nick trying to be a chauvinist? No. Because guess what, S&M, you talk about just go out there and be a seed dropper. Guess what? In our community, there's a lot of women who are already becoming seed reciprocals or receptacles, whatever the proper word is. So what the fuck are we talking about? Women who probably shouldn't be having kids are already having kids. So that's not even an argument that we're really having for real, because for the women who are educated, and what you didn't talk about though, as far as that 2.2 number, the more money you have, the more education you have, et cetera, that number goes down. So if you're talking about the 2.2 for all the black folks, guess what happens? The niggas who get uppity, the niggas who ascend, sometimes they don't have the same feeling of responsibility to the community. Agree or disagree? If we're talking about economically, oh, he got rich and he gets with a white girl. Yeah, guess what? When people get better off, they feel less responsible for everybody else, including those women who are more educated, making more money, who are making the decision to be all about themselves, to the point that they can't even find another man to get with to even have kids in the first fucking place. How is it not selfish? Sorry.
Okay,
what are we talking about?
I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go simply because I don't want to go down the railroad tracks of, so we talking about responsibility and community responsibility, and I want to stop it there because you know what I was about to do was a whataboutism.